And first of all, let's speak about Dangote Cement. Like I mentioned, 30% of market cap. Anytime we see numbers from that, we pay attention. Your thoughts on those numbers, and to what extent is that going to impact your asset allocation going forward?
Okay, for Dangote Cement, it's always important to have it post positive returns. Like as we have just seen today, a rally in the stock is expected going forward. Revenues were up from, say, 112 billion to about 146 billion. If you look at it on a relative terms, you'll find out that the earnings per share was up from about 3.7 to 4.2%. So these are pretty good numbers, and we expect that these would deliver positive returns in the market. For us, it is almost impossible to match the market allocation of 30% per stock because based on regulations, we are not supposed to exceed a particular limit, but we are going forward, we should be increasing our allocation to the stock based on this expansion and other things about it.
Of course, these numbers are coming after we saw Lafayette Webco release numbers earlier. The profit growth was more significant for Lafayette, and of course, we do know that they've increased capacity recently. Can you just compare the two and your thoughts on Dangote Cement versus Lafayette Webco as an investment opportunity?
Okay, I think that there are two pretty good companies, and but because Dangote Cement's expansion is quite more rapid than what we'll find in Lafayette, I would generally want to pick Dangote Cement over Lafayette. But in terms of comparison, I think that they are very good companies, and any day, anytime, I think you should have them in your portfolios.
All right, let's move on to UAC, another company releasing numbers today. Pretty decent numbers as well. We saw fairly moderate growth on turnover and profits. Your thoughts on those numbers, and how will you be allocating to UAC after seeing those numbers?
Okay, for UACN, UACN is one company that we love so much, and we always try to have them in our portfolio. The reason is extensively diversified business model. They are in almost every aspect of sector in the market. You find them in food, you find them in restaurant, they're in paint, almost everything you can think of, the real estate sector. But more specifically, if you look at their result, you will find out some tremendous growth. For example, revenues were up about 17%. Profit after tax was up about 17% as well. And then most importantly, their gross earning margin was up about 20%, meaning that we are seeing dividends from the expansion that they've been talking about. We're also seeing dividends from their diversification they've been speaking about. We're also seeing dividends from their strategic partnership in terms of relationship with several other key players in other sectors. Right. So really, I think UACN, specifically in the food and beverage sector or the consumer goods sector, it's a very key security to have on your portfolio.
Okay, and let's, every time we see UAC numbers, you just mentioned that they are fairly diversified, but of course we do know that they are very invested in the food business and basically consumer goods. Your thoughts on your best picks in that space, the consumer good companies on the market?
Our first pick will be Nestle, and the reason is good corporate governance, steady but constant growth in earnings, good payout ratio, as well as stable price relative to other securities in that sector. Next up will be UACN, and basically because of the reasons I've mentioned earlier.
All right, and what about the likes of flour mills? We know they are fairly diversified, but of course, beyond the cement business that they're invested in, like Dangote Cement, we do know that they are also in the consumer goods space.
Yeah, we like flour mill, but currently, flour mill is undergoing a sensitive period, and the reason we would not be allocating more of our assets to flour mill is because we expect to see a turnaround from the management over the next couple of quarters. So we expect to see a significant move in the security and the company before we decide on how much to increase our allocations to flour mill.
Okay, so a few question marks on flour mills for you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Efe, for joining us from Stanbic IBTC Asset Management. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Efe is an asset manager with that firm.